The choice between the moon and the sun in us is the choice between the bodily and the spiritual, the choice between the 3D matrix illusion and the spiritual ascendance of 5D consciousness. The choice between the moon and the sun in us is the choice between childish immaturity and eternal wisdom, between the transient, the ephemeral, the illusionary, and the low and permanent and sublime, between silly and serious, strong and weak, collective opinions, the Antichrist current, and individual opinions, the Christ currents, the Christed ones, those who have chosen the light and not the safety of the darkness of ignorance, of satiating their lower animal nature, between the wide road paved with good intentions leading to demise and a road less traveled, a narrow passage leading to salvation. Your reality is not by happenstance. Your reality is the combination, the interaction, the dynamic between your orientation. Are you oriented more towards the moon and being a victim of your body, being trapped within your physical consciousness, or are you embodying the power of the solar, the sun, the transcendent will, the divine solar will of 5D consciousness? Your soul is of divine origin. That is truly who you are. Everything else is an illusion that rules this world of illusion. And this is all by design. There's no need to be caught up in all the conspiracy theories. But this is by design for your soul evolution. All knowledge and power of manifestation in this 3D realm of harmonic universe number one. And when I'm saying harmonic universe number one, I'm talking about rates of vibration, qualities of consciousness, which most people vibrate at the 3D level of harmonic universe number one, of that certain oscillation of vibration, of frequency. And all of this is based upon the dynamic of this universe as controlled by two invisible things. We have gravitational dark matter, which forms galaxies, stars, and planets. And we have dark energy, driving local groups of galaxies apart at an exponential rate. And as above, so below, as within, so without. This dynamic takes place within each individual. Hatha yoga is sun-moon yoga. Yoga is to yoke your lower nature to your higher nature. Is dominance over the moon tendency of satiating the lower animal nature of your consciousness being solely trapped within the physical. And Ha, the sun, yoking the moon to the sun and transcending the lesser effects of a consciousness solely directed to your body. So this is not a message to condemn the body, because the body in this physical realm was created simply for you to work through all of the various nuances of your existence, of your divine existence, and be able to take advantage of this body and transcend and learn the lessons of the sun. And simply, those lessons, though, were interfered with by the dark cabal, the Elohim worship cult, the Hebrews of organized religion, whose aim was to trap this natural evolution within all of us and keep it at a certain level of devolution, devolution, involution, meaning keeping your energies and your consciousness trapped within a very low frequency. So, man, be sure that the effects that ye bring forth are ever causes of more perfect effects. Know ye the future is never in fixation, but follows man's free will as it moves through the movements of time, space, toward the goal where a new time begins. The goal is solar consciousness, of 5D consciousness, of ascension. And when a chosen one awakens from the matrix, the universe trembles. Now keep in mind, a chosen one is simply an awakened one. It is not a special group of people based upon religion or ethnicity or geographical location. A chosen one is one who chooses the path of awakening, of ascension, chooses the path of knowledge, the path of the Magi. And when a chosen one awakens from the matrix, the universe trembles with anticipation of the cosmic law being returned to prominence, of being extricated from those who hijacked the Elohim worship cult, the Hebrews who hijacked this natural process, and returning it to the prominence, returning it to its original design, as in the energies of the first time. The golden age of Zeptepi, the age of the Magi, the golden age of alchemy, where the gods moved through the void and created the grids of our reality. They brought the moon, which is an artificial creation, to test our souls, to give our souls a challenge. We are the gods. We are the aliens. We designed all of this. When you realize how powerful your consciousness is, you understand that we set all this up, and it is you, via your consciousness and knowledge, that wins this game. And part of this game is the ego. We have two minds. We have the ego mind and we have the God mind. The world of the ego is an illusion. It is a never-ending drama of energy siphoning, of just, it is a never-ending drama. And those caught up in the 3D illusion of the ego, they must seek their own way out. They must extricate their feeble minds from this cosmic prison by design. It is the glory of a king to seek out knowledge. It is God who hid all of this knowledge, but it is there for us to seek out and learn and grow and expand our consciousness. And let the ego go. The belief in divine retribution or cosmic justice, trusting that the universe or a higher power will address these injustices. Chosen ones, those who choose this path of expansion, of growth, can let go of the need for personal vengeance. Now, this faith in a higher form of justice provides them with the peace of mind to continue their journey without being weighed down by the negativity directed at them, transcending egoic reactions to criticism or hostility. It's a vital part of the journey for those identified as chosen ones. Instead of reacting defensively or with anger, when faced with negativity, they approach these situations with humility and grace. Yes, thank you for this challenge, for this opportunity to prove the power of my soul, of my consciousness, to transcend this ego. This transcendence of ego is essential for maintaining spiritual equilibrium and staying true to your higher purpose. Now, and what the law of cause and effect really means is that it has, and it's often been explained that every cause has an effect, if you will understand it in this way. As long as the moon is your cause, the effects thereof will be ever more disastrous and egoic. It is not by chance that there is such a huge epidemic of drug addiction, of all kinds of violent acting out. I mean, as long as we are based within this Christian reality, as long as we are based within this violent outlook, which is violence, is deeply ingrained in the Christian psyche. All through the Old Testament, even through the New Testament, with what Paul did with the message of the original Christ, Yeshua. But the U.S. is the largest predominantly Christian nation in the world. It is also the most violent country in the world. Why is that, dear esteemed viewer? This behavior is traceable to an erroneous Christian concept, the idea that God somehow condoned and rationalized the violence of the crucifixion. This is what the crucifixion implant is. It has murdered the Christ consciousness within each individual who follows that lie, that organized religion. But we must extricate ourselves with knowledge and expand our consciousness and extricate ourselves from the ego mind. We all have two minds, the ego mind and the God mind. Awakening, our true awakening, is to stop attacking, instead seeing through the illusion and seeing the world through the eyes of God, divine love. The moment you will remember that an unpleasant present situation is not real, it loses its power, and your journey back home will begin. You will begin to embody God. You will begin to embody the solar consciousness, the power of the soul consciousness. Your soul is of divine origin. Everything else is an illusion that rules this world. Now, if you want to get rid of some habit and mental pattern that restricted and it has had a negative influence on yourself, if you manage to resist this habit, this outlook, this mindset, this paradigm, this violence, whatever it is you're caught up in, if you manage to resist it during one full lunar cycle, then you will forever set yourself free from that weakness and habit. This works for everything, whether it is smoking, drug addiction, sexual addiction, financial failure, implementation of the law of attraction, using negative words in your vocabulary, realizing the power of your words. But if you can resist it for one full lunar cycle, essentially that is conterminous with Yeshua spending his time in the desert, whether it was 40 days, 30 days, it doesn't matter. You spent your time in the desert and resisted the temptations of Ha-Satan, the adversary. I myself went through this back in 2021. But just because I had my Kundalini activation, awakening, the solar consciousness come within my awareness, I still had to resist the temptations of Ha-Satan. And far better and stronger than all the ethical teachings and morality, the practice of meditation helps untie us from the influence of the moon, of the lower animal nature. We go through the direct experience of our true identity. When you meditate, when you turn to the right meditation, you become one with your soul. We become aware of the fact that we are not our body. We are so much more. We are the eternal, transcendental consciousness of the soul. When even for a brief moment we experience this during meditative focus in samadhi, then we experience that consciousness of our soul is the same divine consciousness that enabled and manifested everything that exists. Your consciousness, your life, is a direct correlation to the manifestation of your consciousness and the contents of your mental landscape. When we turn to the right meditation, we then experience the body as a temporary, although useful mean for the manifestation of divine consciousness in this world. And then it can no longer distract us with its childish urges and inferior passions. Then the body does not trap us anymore. We use it. It does not use us. The same with the ego. The ego is your tool. When you have transcended, when you have gone through the solar consciousness, you have gone through the rainbow bridge of the heart chakra, and gone and transcended, or at least you have put the lower animal nature in perspective, then the ego becomes your tool. This road less traveled. You forego the wide road paved with good intentions that lead to the demise, which most people they're going along to the demise of the Pied Piper leading the rats into the streets. But when you choose the road less traveled, when you go through the eye of the needle, you realize that the question of the soul, of our consciousness is the oldest question asked by mankind. All the answers to the questions about the soul exist both in an individual and a collective experience. But they were hidden from man in various ways. The knowledge about the soul was hidden by religions and science. Religions did it through endless, futile, and diverse theologies, myths, and religious conflicts. And science hid it behind the materialistic teachings, saying that the soul is a kind of psycho-energetic entity which is created and disappears with the body. Our soul placed the moon to be able to incarnate and experience all the aspects of divine existence. Without it, the soul would also incarnate, but then the pace of life and development would be at a lot slower and self-sufficient. If there were no moon, we would live like we did 12,000 years ago in the age of Atlantis. That is why Atlantis failed, because people could check in and out of reality at whenever the going got too tough. Whenever you began to experience hardships in your life, that is true gold. That is how you surmount this reality. That is why we created the moon. Yes, we are the aliens. We are the consciousness, divine consciousness, and we set up the moon so we would have this more challenging game for the purposes of our evolution. The appearance of the moon greatly enhanced the karmic maturity and material development on this planet. The moon was placed by very advanced alien forces, but in the holographic universe, we are all one. We are the aliens who did it, although not in our current bodies. They are our older versions. Yes, we are all souls from Atlantis, Lemuria, who set up this new game. The game is coming to an end. Its astrological influence, its position in our horoscope is not by accident, because it is like a mirror reflecting the karmic maturity of our soul in this incarnation. If you are still alive right now at this very moment and resonating with the message of this video, you know what is up. You know what the true focus should be in your life. And this brings us one step closer to our divine consciousness. The moon serves us, not the other way around. There are indeed so many things we did with the divine power of the creative consciousness of our soul before we were born in these bodies of ours. If you could observe things now with the consciousness of your soul, you would be able to see that the entire cosmos, life, and absolutely everything that exists and happens is a concrete, physical reflection of the consciousness of your soul, the reflection of your divine consciousness. The sun and the moon every day and night show this from the sky as clear as could be. Still, people do not see this because the moon is doing such a good job. The majority of people are being still entranced by the moon. And when we realize that this is an artificial creation, when the chosen ones begin to awaken, we are well equipped with information coming from the sphere of science on this subject. And how do you feel about the people who walk down the street not paying much attention to the moon, not looking for the truth in it because they think it's natural, same as everything else that is just part of the world? They don't even question it. We should consider their walking as a form of sleepwalking. Most people are still sleepwalking to their demise. They are not drawn to take an interest in the moon. They watch their mobile smartphones, living in their smart cities, and think that something which is not real, which is nothing but a reflection of something, is actually for real. This is how the mirror of the lunar mind functions. However, this is not all that bad. This world with people who resemble zombies does not have to look like a cosmic prison for the feeble-minded, the way that some conspiracy theories keep everybody in a lower state of fear, lower vibrations, because nothing is hidden away from man. In Proverbs 25, verse 2, the glory of God is to conceal a thing secret, but the king's honor is to search out a thing. Everything is right before our eyes, only we do not see it. And this depends on where we prioritize our consciousness. The deep state, the dark cabal, tried to completely cover up all this knowledge and keep people dumbed down at a lower vibration of consciousness. But always the hand of the Almighty was there, giving us breadcrumbs for us to follow. Yeshua came, yes, and brought us the knowledge of the Essenes, the Gnostics. Gave us the power to liberate ourselves from the identification of the body, the lower animal, which makes us mechanical and unconscious, conditioned in so many ways. Knowing the truth, knowing that the truth and freedom are there for us, readily available for us and before our very eyes. Although you're not under any obligation to see it, you can choose your path. You can choose to enslave yourself further, which that is what darkness is, ignorance. People become so caught up in their physical reality that, they, whatever pleasures they, pleasures pave the way to sewers, the sewers of their current life. That is up to you. You have free will to choose to enslave yourself further. Even though we can kill ourselves in the darkness of our illusions, we always have the freedom to enlighten ourselves. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a great reason to wake up in the morning and just be thankful for your consciousness? Only the strength of our consciousness determines what we choose to see and whether we bother to see it at all. There is no other way for the consciousness of the soul to crystallize, become strong, and express itself, but through us the way that has been explained with the knowledge of what the moon is as an artificial construct and the dominant solar will to extricate yourself to 5D consciousness. The choice is yours. Remain trapped in the 3D illusions of the moon. But no matter what your choice is, you are loved. You are loved beyond measure. The magnitude of the moon and this entire project that goes along with it, the amount of intelligence invested, worked, and resources show that we are worth it. If all of this were done for us, we must be worth it. Our power is worthy of it. Meaning that all of this was set up. This whole reality, everything that's taking place now, the possibility of worldwide destruction, this was all set up for our benefit. We did it. Your consciousness, your divine consciousness did this. We have the power. Everyone has two minds, the ego mind, which is the mind of the moon, and the mind of God, which is the mind of the sun. And it is up to us. It is time to turn to the right, to dream and create the magic of our lives that we most desire out of this life. The way of the Magi is based on our becoming whole and knowing that our happiness comes from within us, not outside us. Abundance isn't greed. Abundance means we can create everything we dream about. The way of the Magi is the way of the solar consciousness. And if there's one thing that I have learned from living within this solar consciousness, being visited by the council members of a faraway and advanced fraternity, the hierarchy of light, as they refer to themselves, it has been that to face each second with the same grace and verve, same grace and excitement of consciousness, of virility, of vitality, as you would on your way to the most elegant affair, undaunted by what may lie ahead, because the rain cloud overhead may just bring the most dazzling rainbow you will ever see. And that will be the best moment, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now, this moment in solar God consciousness. Leave away, close up, seal up the portal of the underworld, and turn towards the light.